What is up? What is up? What is up, KOD Nation, Yankees Universe? We are here. It's your guy, Project Nerd HQ, with a new show, the Yankees Morning Brew. Thanks to my guys over at KOD Media, Knights of Dijon, my guy Jiggerman Porto first and foremost. But we are here. We have got to the debut episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. It's going to be a little different. First and foremost, before we start, I hope everybody watching, you got your coffee with you, because it's a Yankees Morning Brew. Let me know what you're drinking. If you're in the chat, please write it in the chat. Myself, I am working on that sponsorship from Bustelo. So this is Bustelo. Please send me free stuff. I want free coffee. But yesterday, since this was the debut episode, the baseball gods, Mother Nature themselves, they set it up that our first episode will be covering a double header. Yes, I said it, double header. I wish I had the button for the but it will be coming soon. So yeah, game one yesterday versus the Texas Rangers. The Yankees wind up pulling it out. Yes, shout out. Clips right here to the side going on as we will be discussing it. But, game one, it was awesome to see. Mother's Day, of course. Shout out to everybody out there. Shout out my mom. Happy Mother's Day. My grandmother, all the mothers in our life as well. Everybody who's watching. If you're a mother, please put a heart in the comment section below if you are. But it was an awesome Mother's Day. It was rained out this weekend. It was a nasty weekend. So to wake up Sunday morning with the beautiful weather we got, a little bit windy once 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock came around, but it was able to get it in for the games. I'm gonna bring up right now. This was the Yankees lineup from game one. As you can see, it's the normal thing. We had Aaron Hicks leading it off in left field. Aaron Judge, DH, batting second. Anthony Rizzo, the first baseman, batting third. Giancarlo Stanton, formerly known as Mike Stanton, the cleanup hitter, the right fielder. Josh Donaldson, who has been struggling. I'm not going to lie. Since he's come over, he has been struggling. We're not going to hold that against him. Hopefully he could kick it up. Gleyber Torres. We will go into Gleyber Torres, more on that. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa as well. We had Esteban Florio and Trevino as well. Florio is a Yankees prospect that the Yankees have been holding on for the longest. I remember once we signed this kid out of the Dominican Republic, 16 old. He's of Haitian Dominican descent. He was a player that I've always wanted to see break on. He reminded me of a young Curtis Granderson. He hasn't been able to find his way in the big leagues, but this year in the minor leagues, he has been doing good. They showed his numbers yesterday. I think he was hitting 282 home runs with 9 ribbies to begin the early season. But one thing about Florio is he has the wheels. They pointed out yesterday he was 8 of 9 from stolen bases in the minors, and we saw that on the base pass. Yesterday, the first time he got on the base, as the first thing he did was still second base. And that's what this Yankees lineup need. When you look at our team from this year and last year, the stark difference is the contact hitters we put into this lineup with IKF. Anthony Rizzo coming back for a whole season, not just half a season. But we still have our boppers in there, the Judges, the Giancarlo Stanton. Joey Gallo has been Joey Gallo. There's nothing that we could say that's going to change that. Hopefully he could pick it up. But, yesterday's game was good, seeing Gleyber Torres come up at the end with the game-winning hit. I know a lot of Yankee fans were ready to package Gleyber up and send him over to Oakland for one of their pitchers. I'm not going to lie. If I didn't, think about it as well this offseason. But I'm glad the Yankees held on to him. Hey, the R&R channel. What's up, my guy? Listen, if you follow on the channel, YouTube, follow me on Instagram as well. I'm on Instagram Live. If anyone from Instagram, just hop over. The link is in the bio. Yankees Morning Brew, Knights of Dijon. But yeah, seeing how Gleyber Torres has shaken off those first 2 weeks of that slump, just the Yankees in general. Garrett Cole's first 3 starts weren't that good. And you seen today, I'm going to bring it back up so we can see Garrett Cole, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 1 walk, and he struck out 10. It's 10 Ks for Garrett Cole. This Texas Rangers offense is struggling, when it comes to scoring runs. They are the worst pitching team in all of baseball or the American League as of now. But these first two games show you that baseball plays. Baseball, it's an everyday sport. 162 games, you got 1 day off. But the Yankees had 3 days off. Friday was a schedule. I mean, Thursday was a scheduled day off, but then Friday and Saturday you had those rainouts. So it was like an abbreviated, you could say, all-star break. The Yankees were clicking on all cylinders, especially when it comes to their hitters. But having this weekend off and coming back, they just looked like they weren't clicking. They weren't, there was a few balls that they just fouled off. Last night alone, and the broadcasters was pointed it out. And one thing I could say is shout out to Cameron Maybin. Cameron Maybin has stepped up, and he has showed that he can fill the announcer's shoes of Ken Singleton. Ken Singleton was a Yankees voice of mine when I was growing up for many years. But Cameron Maybin brings a different dynamic to it. It's not just he's funny, but he gives you that inside look when it comes to what the athlete is thinking, especially the athlete in this day and age. But having Cameron Maybin on the call with Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill, it was entertaining. I'm not going to lie. It was 100% entertaining. But Cameron Maybin said it. He said Gleyber Torres is a creature of habit, and you see, and it's showing that he's working in the cage. He's working to get those hits, So I'm glad that Gleyber Torres was able to pick it up in game one. I'm glad Garrett Cole pitched sixth and a third. At the end of the sixth inning, there was a cut scene that he was arguing with Boone that he didn't want to come out the game. So Booney let the ace, which, if this is your ace, that's what he's supposed to demand. But Booney let the ace go back out there for the seventh inning. He got an out, but then he gave up a solo home run. And that has been Garrett Cole's issue this entire season. And last year as well, when it comes to giving up home runs. But yesterday's game, Garrett Cole was on point. He had about 6 pitches that broke 100 miles an hour, and one of them he brought out in the 6th inning. So I think those early season rust that, Garrett Cole had, it's over. I think Garrett Cole is going to be a different pitcher for the rest of the season. And, us Yankee fans, we could just look at this team, see where we are. We have the best record in baseball, tied with the Dodgers. After the first 2 weeks, everyone on Yankees Twitterverse was scrambling, hitting the panic button, trade this person, trade that person, trade Aaron Judge, get some prospects. Garrett Cole's a bum. He can't make it in New York. But, baseball is a marathon. It's you got to be able to track it out there for the 162 games. You can't just rush it, and early sample size the first 2 weeks, it was a bit scary. I'm not going to lie, especially after what happened to the Knicks this year. I'm not going to get into that. That's another show for another time. But, the Knicks had a bad year this year. So hopefully I was coming into the season that the Yankees are going to shake it off. And on May 9th at 11:09 a.m., they have, and this is just, we have to be happy with this. One thing about Yankee fans that I could say is we want to win 162 games. We want to go 162-0. We want to sweep every round of the playoffs, and every year we want to win a championship. We got to slow down. It's not like that all the time. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to win every year. These past 20 years at Yankees, as a Yankee fan, we've had one championship in 2009, two championships if you count 2000. Play postseason every year minus 2 seasons. And if you ask any other franchise like the Milwaukee Brewers, the Baltimore Orioles, the San Diego Padres, the Oakland A's, ask any of those fan base, I guarantee you they would take that outcome over 20 years than what they got from their team. Hell, as a Knicks fan, if you told me we got 2 championships, 2 years without making the playoffs in the past 20 years, I'll be excited. I would take that. But Yankee fans, we have to chill. 162 games. This team is way better than we were last year. I pointed out, with the contact hitters we got, we're not getting anything from the catcher position from the 9 hole, but that's going to come. Trevino got a blue pit. Kyle Higashioka, after becoming Barry Bonds in spring training, hasn't hit a home run so far this season. But I think our catching is going to come around when it comes to the offensive side. But what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball, I take that 100%. As much as I love Gary Sanchez and Gary Sanchez offense, what he brought defensively was just not it. it literally was just not it. And when you go back to those dynasty Yankee teams and every Yankee team that won multiple championships, one of the big foundation pieces that they had was defense behind the plate, catcher. In the 90s, before we went on that run, we had Mike Stanley, who was one of the best offensive catchers in baseball. We traded him away so we could get Joe Girardi. Joe Girardi is basically what Kyle Higashioka was right now, is for us right now. A catcher who's defensive-minded, who cannot hit, and he'll probably get a bloop hit here or there. And that's what we need to focus on, defense up the middle. We looked at our shortstop situation. Gleyber Torres is a way better second baseman than he is shortstop. So having him switch back over to second base and bring IKF, who's solid when it comes to his glove at that position. He had an error yesterday. Not going to shy away from that. He did have an error. He had a couple errors at the beginning of the season as well, but it was just him shaking off, wanting to be a Yankee and trying to shake off the stigma of just wanting to improve and wanting to get every hit. But IKF has showed up. I'm impressed with what I'm seeing from IKF, his speed, and that's another thing. Aaron Hicks as well had a couple steals yesterday as well in game 1 and in game 2, and that's what we need. I know analytics nowadays, they want to focus on every out counts. They don't want to give up outs. They don't want to give up, just outs on the base path. Stolen bases is a thing of the past. No, you got to be able to do the both. Stolen bases, bunting as well. You seen Marwin Gonzalez trying to get a push bunt last night in game 2, but it's going to come. Our offense was shaky. Gleyber Torres got that walk-off hit in game 1, but we had to shake off the cobwebs from having those 3 days off. We got a game tonight against Texas. Texas is the worst pitching team in the American League, so it should be batting practice tonight. Like I said yesterday, Aaron Judge probably had about like 4 or 5 different pitches that he wished he had gotten back because they were right in the meat of the batting zone. He could have just knocked them out. Literally, he had like 2 balls that were warning track power, but that's here or there. Now let's get into the game 2 stats. Hold on. There it is. Boom. So yeah. Oh, this is from game 1. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah. And this is game 2. So I'm going to break down the lineups for game 2 from the Rangers. Marcus Semien, the big contract that he got. Seager as well, another big contract. It's unique because Texas is spending money, but they brought in Semien and Seager to be like culture changers, locker room changers as well. Semien hasn't had a home run yet since he's been with the Rangers, but his batting average is pretty good. When you look at the pitching, Otto, this pitcher that started for the Texas Rangers, that's a prospect that we gave up for Joey Gallo. After last night's performance, I can say that I would want to switch that back. I would want to make that trade do a do-over because Joey Gallo has not lived up to his home run hype or what he's known for. Alex Rodriguez calls it out a lot. Alex Rodriguez is not a fan of Joey Gallo, probably because Joey Gallo's wearing number 13, and everyone know that's A-Rod's old number. But game 2 was a bit tough to watch. Jordan Montgomery, the same thing. It's just the lack of run support Montgomery gets. He did pitch 6 innings. Hold on, let me pitch it up right here. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and 4 Ks. So Monty's pitching. Jordan Montgomery, he's pitching after coming back from Tommy John injury. He has shown that he is utilizing his changeup on both the right and the left-handed batter. He's showing that he's not scared. When you saw Monty his second year, not his first year, his second year, he was a proponent of giving up the home run ball. That's not happening no more this season. So you're seeing the improvement that Monty has made over his career. And Michael King, as good as Michael King has been this season, he has showed that he is a human being. Michael King came in last night and he got lit up. In an inning in the third, he gave up 2 hits. He gave up 2 runs that came off a home run, 1 walk, and 3 Ks. He was shaky. I'm not sure if it was because in game 1 of the doubleheader, in the 6th inning, Michael King got up. In the 5th inning, Michael King got up and started warming up. and he didn't come in the game. So I'm not sure if it was, him starting early in game one, sitting back down, and then coming from game two, warming back up, that threw him off of his game. Maybe, so a hypothetical what ifs, but a lot of the times when you see a pitcher warming up in the bullpen, you don't want to waste that. They're not pitching in the game, but they're still cranking up their arm. You don't want to get them out of their flow, out of their rhythm. And then a doubleheader, having him warm up in game one for over an inning and not bring him in, I think that probably would throw him off for game two. But hey, I'm just a guy that talks Yankee stuff on YouTube. I'm not an actual player. But Michael King did come back down to reality. He showed that he's a human being. We lost the game, and throughout game two, the Yankees had opportunities. We had the bases loaded. Aaron Judge popped up. We had two guys on. Gleyber Torres flew out to the running track. It was really windy yesterday in the city, especially at nighttime. I think that's what helped when it comes to Brad Miller's home run that he had against Michael King, because it looked like the jet stream was shooting out to right field. It looked like the ball was going to die, but the wind just carried it into the Yankees bullpen. And think tonight is going to be a different Yankees team. The offense needs to be more aggressive. Otto was throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, and a lot of those first pitch strikes was in the meat of the zone. You cannot be patient. You cannot be that timid when it comes to at bats, especially when it's this early in the season and you got a young pitcher as Otto. Otto has not have a good season. He had a good start against us last night, but so far in this young season, it hasn't been good. Take a break for for a coffee sip. But if you're in the comment section, what's your thoughts about the game? Let me know. And again, shout out to Jiggaman Porto TV, my man Jiggaman. If you guys aren't a part of or you haven't followed the FCF, please, what are you waiting for? If you like Madden, if you like fantasy football, if you like Pokemon even, this is a spot you want to be. It's a correlation of everything. We got gambling going on. We got the FCF going on. Get yourself a steed. Get yourself in a virtual racing. You never know. Things can happen. Look what happened to me. I got a show. Hey. But when you look at this season, well, not this season, but this game, like right now, that play, Giancarlo Stanton, it was pointed out last night. Maybe pointed it out. When Giancarlo Stanton did that, hold on, let me see if I could just bring it back for a second. When Giancarlo Stanton did this, he was supposed to run into the fielder to break up the double play right here. And he didn't. He jumped back, try to do the swoop that Marwin Gonzalez did last game. Right here. Supposed to run into the fielder, don't do an Albert Bell and shoulder check him on the field, but run into the fielder so you could break up the double play. When you look back on this play, it doesn't look like that the fielder Andy Ibanez even touched first base, but that's a judgment call. I don't think there's enough evidence for the umpires to even turn it over. Andy Ibanez is a young player. Hey, my guy Sean, what's good, my guy? Salute. Hope all is well. Yeah. Oh, King Tut, how you doing, my guy? Listen, you're on Instagram. Jump over to the YouTube chat. Jump over to the Twitch chat as well. I like to see everybody that's in the chat. I appreciate you. The link is in the bio on my Instagram and in my story. Come right on over. But yeah, when it comes to this game last night and just the Yankees offense in general, we have Josh Donaldson, like I pointed out earlier, who's struggling. But I figured Josh Donaldson is going to get out that slump. He just has to get more consistent at bats, and I think he would. There's a few players that I would like to highlight. I'll bring them up right now. Like I said earlier, Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole had a Garrett Cole game last night. One thing I could say about Garrett Cole is he's a competitor. He wants to be in there every game. He wants to be in there every pitch. He wants to be in there every inning. He is a gamer. He is the ace of our staff, and he's showing that he can pitch. A lot of people brought up the fact that ever since the MLB broke down on the sticky substance, that his ERA is mid-3s, almost 4. I know it's against the Rangers, But the start before, he had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings. So as the season's going and he's building his stamina up, he's going to get more and more and more, innings out there. He's going to be in the 7th inning. He's going to be in the 8th inning. I think this is the first time this season so far in this young season that we had a Yankees pitcher pitch into the 7th inning. And get it out. I think there was a game before that Monty started the 7th, but he didn't get it out. But Garrett Cole actually got it out in the 7th. So I'm glad to see what I'm getting from Garrett Cole. Hopefully this is just the norm. Like they like to say, look at the back of the baseball card, and that's what you're going to get from the player. Second person I like to highlight, like I brought up earlier, Gleyber Torres. My man, Gleyber Torres. As you guys know, Gleyber Torres is a new father himself. So this is the first Mother's Day that he was celebrating with his wife, who is the mother of his child. And he showed out. Game 1, got a game-winning hit. And as he was coming around third base, if you guys didn't see, he pulled the John Morant and got the gritty on. Yes, he got the gritty on. Hey, don't want to embarrass myself. Yes, Gleyber Torres got the gritty last night, and I'm here for it. I seen a lot of people on Yankees Twitter, they were upset about it, but hey, if you're the old man screaming on the porch, just stop it. We need in baseball and MLB this youth. MLB had an ad campaign a few years ago of let the kids play, let the kids play. Well, let the kids play. That's all I gotta say. Just let the kids play, let them be themselves. Baseball, they say that it's stale. I don't believe that. I'm a kid that grew up playing MLB The Show. If you guys remember MVP Baseball 2005, that was the first baseball game that I used to dive into and play religiously 24/7, 365. But we need that. We need youth. We need energy, and it started with Acuna, with the Braves, and I'm here for it. And Gleyber Torres is the type of energy that the Yankees need. And now I hate to do this, but Judgy, my man Aaron Judge. The reason I'm highlighting Aaron Judge is he went hitless in both games, both doubleheaders. It's not his fault. The reason why I want to highlight him is so he can see that it's not his fault. It's hard when you have Aaron Judge, who's 6'7", 6'8", and he's getting those strike calls that are out of the zone. If you look, the low ball, it's out of the zone, and he gets it called all the time. It was at bat, there was a sequence that instead of it being 3-0, he was behind the count 1-2, and he struck out swinging at a pitch out of the zone. But it's because it was in his mind that the umpire was going to call that a strike. Paul O'Neill said it on the broadcast yesterday, and Cameron Maben. When the ball's out of the pitcher's hand and you have that much plate discipline as an Aaron Judge does, you automatically know it's going to be a ball. So it's clicking in your head, it's a ball, don't swing. It's kind of hard for you to switch it back because you know the umpire is going to call it a strike. So I cannot wait for baseball to implement the automatic strike zone, the robo umpire. I know a lot of people are going to be upset about that, but hey, if you just want to have the umpire behind the play just for the aesthetics, let him be there. Give him, you see how the pitchers are wearing, the communicator with the catcher going back and forth. Have the umpire get the same thing. Once the ball comes over the strike zone and it's recognized that it's a strike, let the umpire know so he could call it a strike. If you still want to have that human element in the game, have that. We need to have that. Because it's going to look weird if just a catcher is behind home plate with no umpire standing behind him. But it's getting ridiculous now, especially with technology. You get to see so much of the umpire's errors. My apologies. You get to look at the umpire's errors. There's been so much film, like when it comes to baseball games from the 90s, from the early 2000s, that if you put a this day and age strike zone into that video, you see how much the umpires are getting wrong, and it's grotesque. Sometimes you be like here or there, all right, they miss one call here, they miss one call there, but it's no. A lot of pitchers in the 90s or the 80s, if they had the automatic strike zone, that their stats wouldn't be what they were. They'll have a lot more walks. Their ERA will be inflated. One example, if you guys look up Levon Hernandez versus the Florida Marlins, I mean, Levi Hernandez versus the San Francisco Giants and the NLCS back in 2002. That was right there a shocker. So many strikes that was actually balls. So if you rewatch that game, you can see what I'm talking about. But next year, because of the new union, they're going to be removing the shift, which I think is good. It's going to bring that offense back into baseball. It looks like softball, when you got four outfielders shifting to one side. And I get it. I get it. These are major league players. They're $1 million players. They're getting paid millions of dollars. Hit the ball the opposite field. I get that. I understand that logic. But baseball is good when the bombs are being bombed. When the home run ball is being hit, that's when baseball is good. As they said in the 90s, chicks dig the home run ball. That's a phrase that I'm not too fond of, but hey, it sells. When you look at the late 90s or the early 2000s, the Mark McGwire, the Sammy Sosa, the Barry Bonds, that's when baseball was special. The 2001 season was a very special year, not just because, you had the Mariners doing what they had to do and the Yankees making it to that epic World Series versus the Diamondbacks, but Barry Bonds had the best season and anybody had in modern day baseball. Let's get back into this. 1 second. Yeah. Remove this judge thing. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, this is Yankees Morning Brew. This is our first episode, working out the things. We will be taking a leap around the league to talk about other news when it comes to baseball teams. One thing I can say is, as a Yankee fan, I'm excited with what I'm seeing with the Mets. New York City baseball, just baseball in general, is good, and it's great when both the Yankees and the Mets are good. That in-city rivalry, that inter-borough rivalry, that banter when you're on the train and you see somebody wearing a Met hat and you're wearing a Yankee hat, and that friendly banter that goes back and forth if you're waiting for your bacon, egg, and cheese or your coffee at the bodega. It's fun. I'm not going to lie, it's fun. I have close friends and family that are diehard Met fans. So when the Mets are good and the Yankees are good, it's awesome. One thing I can say is that at the beginning of the season, you Met fans were super unsufferable. I couldn't deal with you guys, like with everything that you guys were posting. Now that the Yankees have showed up, you guys are a bit quiet, but hey, it's a part of the rivalry. That's how we get things going. That's how we get things juicing. And 162 games, I'm here for it for the rest of the season. I am here for it. I think this week, no. I think in a few weeks, the Yankees and Mets meet up, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Let me just look at the schedule, get it correct. And again, if you guys are on Twitter, on Instagram, follow me. Look me up, Project Nerd HQ. And as well, if you're just watching this because you clicked onto YouTube and you was just searching Yankees content, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Join the FCF crew. Join the Knights of Deegan. Join us. We're blowing up and everything is just moving. Hold on. Let me just get the Yankee schedule real quick. They will be playing the Mets. Not no time soon. If I'm not mistaken, they play. Oh, in July. Okay. Yeah. So the Yankees and Mets, they play in July. Can't wait for that. Yes, it is July 26th at Yankee Stadium. So hopefully I could get some tickets for that game. Hopefully I could get some footage from that game. But if you guys follow us as we grow and as we build, it's all going to be an experience. It's all going to be a learning curve as well. Learning what segments to put. If you guys have any ideas for segments, put it in the comment section. Put it in the chat down below. If you guys have any ideas for when it comes to the Yankees trades or moves that the Yankees should make, write that also in the comments. If you're rewatching this, just write it in the comments. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. It is the 30-minute mark. So I'm going to just replay the intro video just so we could get a little fresh break and come back with some more energy. Stay tuned. I gotta make that longer. You know, I like to dance in the back as the song is playing. But yeah. Thank you everybody from coming through. Oh, I got some people on my Instagram. Hey, if you're on Instagram live right now, I see you guys in the comment section. Click over to YouTube. Join the conversation that's going on to YouTube. The link is in my bio. The link is in the post that I created as well. This is the Yankees Morning Brew on the Nice of Deegan channel. First and foremost, I just want to take a quick second to pause, just to shout out my guys from For the Love of the Game. The other host that I was working with, Hard Will, my guy, Money Making Mitch, Lawrence Mayberry. Want to take a second to shout out my guys. I was the third host, but couldn't commit to the afternoon time. The morning time was better for me. The Nice of Deegan, they sent over that carrier pigeon from the kingdom. Once I got it, it knocked on my window on the 5-flight walk up that I have in the Bronx, and I couldn't turn that carrier pigeon away. I couldn't turn the call away. So I joined the kingdom. I got steeded. I'm here. I'm knighted, and I'm ready to go. We got 162 games. Well, 142 games left in the season. The Yankees record right now is, let me just get it up real quick. Boom, boom, boom. The Yankees are 19-8. We are first in the American League East. We are tied with the Los Angeles Angels for the best record in the American League. One thing I can say is shout out to the Angels. Noah Syndergaard, Thor has come back. You got a lot of former Yankees that are on that team when it comes to Tyler Wade and other former Yankees. So the Angels are doing good. We need this because Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani has to get to the playoffs. They just have to. You cannot be the top two best players in the league, and that's what Ohtani and Trout are. They're the two best players in the league on the same team and consistently not make the playoffs. That's not a good look for baseball either. Credit to the Angels. They've gone out there to spend money. They gave Albert Pujols that contract. They gave Anthony Rendon that contract. So the Angels aren't scared to make money. Another shocker, Minnesota in the AL Central is 18-11. So they're right behind the Yankees and the Angels for the best record in the American League. Minnesota Twins as well. We made that trade with Gary Sanchez, IKF, Josh Donaldson. For the first week of the season, it kind of looked like the Yankees made a mistake because Gary Sanchez was on fire to start the season. He had a grand slam. He had early, I think he was 12 RBIs in that first week. He hit over 300. But then he came back to reality and he showed us why Gary Sanchez is Gary Sanchez. I hate to say it. When I used to work as an EMT, shout out to all my first responders. When I worked as an EMT, I had a partner that I worked with that was actually first cousins with Gary Sanchez. And, but she said it back then, the work ethic. Wasn't too sure about the work ethic. He was too busy and too focused in partying and going out. Can't say that's 100% true, but it just showed. He came after his first 2 seasons out of shape. He looked lazy back there behind home plate. And I'm someone who's a couch potato, so I can't call someone who's a professional athlete lazy or anything like that. But the proof is in the pudding. Yankee fans got tired of him, and we just had to improve our defense. They said up the middle is how you win championships. So that's catcher, pitcher, shortstop, second baseman, and center fielder. And I think what the Yankees are missing is that center field piece. Aaron Hicks, as much as I love Hicksy, Aaron, as much as I love you as a player, as a Yankee like you've been for the past few seasons, you are not the center fielder for the future. Your defense has come down ever since you had Tommy John surgery. Your arm is not the same. Aaron Hicks was known for that cannon. When he was highlighted, he was known for that cannon, being able to throw it 100 miles an hour from the field. It's not the same anymore. I think Aaron Hicks' future is in one of the corner outfield spots, whether it be left field, right field, most likely with the Yankees left field because we have Aaron Judge. I wanted Esteban Florio yesterday to go 3 for 3. That way it just pushes the Yankees to make that decision on him, but he didn't. He got on base. It was a fielder's choice, and he stole. But Esteban Florio, I want to see more from Florio. I think Esteban Florio could be that spark plug for the Yankees. if Florio wasn't in the Yankees organization, he definitely would be a starter in in right field or center field for the Texas Rangers. You put him on probably 10 of the bottom teams in MLB, and he would be a starter. But for this Yankees team, you know how the Yankees are. They said that the Yankees are prospect hoarding. I can agree with that, and at the same time, I'm for it. As someone who is a diehard Yankee fan, I grew up with the Yankees in the mid 2000s. Hey, VSM Basketball Station, what is good? Venture Season Network podcast, my guys, Trippy, Nicky, Nixon 30. If you guys can go to Instagram, follow my guy Nick and 30. He's a great Knicks content creator. I appreciate you and your whole squad for coming through. Oh, sorry, Venture Season Basketball, Venture Season Network Basketball. My fault, my apologies. But yeah, VSN Basketball. If you guys can follow them, please, I appreciate that. That's my guy, Trippy Nicky. But yeah, when it comes to the squad, hold on, let me just bring it up so we could just see Hicks right here. He was 0 for 4 in the first game. Oh, I got the mark, and he was 0 for 1 in the second game. The reason he was 0 for, he did what Hicks does. He draws walks. He gets on base. He gets hit by the pitch. That part of Aaron Hicks' game is good, but I don't think is what we need from this Yankee squad. But when you see, Brian Reynolds, who everyone in Yankees universe wanted the Yankees to target this offseason, he's not doing good when it comes to Pittsburgh as well. The Pirates, all the Pirates. If we would have gave up, they wanted Volpe, they wanted Jason Dominguez, they wanted Devi Garcia, Clark Smith. They wanted our top prospects, and I shy away from that. I'm a Yankee fan. Like I said, I grew up in the mid 2000s watching the Yankees, and we traded away so many prospects. We had Mike Lowe before he went to the Marlins. We traded him away. We had Jake Westbrook before he went to Cleveland. We traded him away. And countless others when it comes to relievers, when it comes to different infielders. Let's see, De'Aaron Soto or De'Aaron Navarro, if you guys remember, the catcher from the Tampa Bay Rays who became a 3-time, 4-time All-Star. He was a switch hitter. He was in our minor league system. So it was so many prospects we gave up. When we traded for Randy Johnson, we almost gave up Robinson Cano and Ching-Ming Wong, which would have been a bad deal. They brought up Ching-Ming Wong yesterday as well on the broadcast, and Ching-Ming Wong was a pitcher that, as a Yankee fan, we root. We root for our young guys who come up through our system. And Ching-Ming Wong, he was on the precipice of being that next great Yankee ace. It's just injuries happen. He got injured on the base path. We can't go back in time and put the universal DH back then, but if we could, we would. I know I would want that to happen. But nowadays, I think it's better for baseball that the pitchers aren't, running the base pass or hitting. I know we love seeing the Bartolo Colon home run or, Jacob deGrom knocking home runs out the park or how Madison Bumgarner as well. But I don't think that's good for baseball. You got a lot of these pitchers that when they make it to the major leagues, the last time they had an at bat was a little league at bat. Especially now in the minor leagues, because in the minor league system, is DH throughout. The pitchers aren't hitting. So how can you expect somebody to go from college, go into the minor leagues? It's not facing, baseball pitchers or MLB's type pitchers, and then they make it to the majors. How do you expect them to, get a few at bats in? It doesn't look good, not at all. But I'm glad that baseball has changed it. They brought the DH over to the National League. I thought it was about time. When you look at it from like a jobs perspective, the National League getting the DH, automatically you're giving, 15 older players an opportunity to get a job, to attach onto a team. Back in the days, Ruben Sierra was a good Yankee for me when I was a kid, but he was our DH, our spot DH. Guarantee you, if the NL was around, there would have been a lot of players that would have benefited from being able to get into that DH role. Barry Bonds' career. If Barry Bonds was the DH for the last 4 or 5 years of his career, who would have known? He probably would have lasted longer. Who knows? We never can know. But we got 20 minutes left before we have to wrap it up. Also, as well, like I said, and I'm gonna keep on saying it, guys, check out the Nice Deegan channel. We got a lot of other shows that's going on. If you're a UFC fan, we got Fight Night. That's later on today. Subscribe, hit that bell so you can get notified for the Fight Night that's coming. You know, the day that the games play. We got a pregame, we got post games, everything that's going on. Please follow, tap in, click that like, click that subscribe button. You know, follow me on Instagram, Project Nerd HQ on Instagram. Follow the FCF on Instagram. Follow the Knights of DJ on Instagram and on Twitter as well. We are all around social media, all these apps as well. This past weekend, we had Jigga Man Porter was interviewing the owner of Rad TV because they got something linked up with Rad TV. You never know all the possibility that's going on. Let's see, trying to see if there's any other breaking Yankees news before we dip out. Yankees did make some moves. They did send out Esteban Florio. Upset about that. But there's something that happened after game one, and I'm not sure if you guys heard it, but Chris Woodward, the manager of the Texas Rangers, after Gleyber Torres had that game-winning home run, this was his words. Woodward said it was a little league ballpark home run. You know, he said Yankee Stadium is the only stadium that would have been a home run. And, you know, when they break it down, you know, they brought it up in the broadcast booth. When you break it down, you look at the stats, that's a home run in 27 other parks. So I don't know what Chris Woodward is talking. You know, when he was a player, totally loved Chris Woodward, especially playing, like I said, MVP baseball and all those video games. Chris Woodward was one of the players that I would get and like to make good. But as a manager, these past few years, it's just something that's not right. You had an incident that happened with Fernando Tatis when Fernando Tatis hit that home run on 3-0. You know, a lot of people didn't like that. I had no care for it. I thought Tatis, if you leave it in the middle of the plate, he's a major league hitter. His job is to hit home runs, and that's what he did. He hit a grand slam. But Chris Woodward took offense to that. You know, but John Boy Media, shout out to John Boy Media, they broke it down literally a year before when he was a bench coach for another team. One of his players did the same exact thing, and he didn't say anything about it. He was celebrating with that player when he hit the home run. So there's this stigma of this old, you know, unwritten rules and how the game should be played or how the game should act. Yeah, how the game should play, how the players should be, how the players should look. You know, it's stale. It's like I said earlier, it's the old man screaming from the porch. You know, it's tiresome. And baseball needs that new energy. Baseball needs that new, you know, that young energy, you know, that young youthness. You know, we need that in sports, you know, especially if you're a young kid growing up, right, and you're watching sports and you see the three major sports, you got the NBA, the NFL, and the MLB. You're most likely going to attract to the NBA and the NFL before MLB because you could closely associate with it. The NBA has a great outreach program. The NFL has a great outreach program. It's just MLB is just lacking and just need to step up to the times. It's 11:44 right now. I think we'll cut it off, you know, 11:44, 11:45. 45 minutes. I think that would be good for a first show. I'd like to thank everyone who's tuned in, you know, who liked, who subscribed. I appreciate you guys joining in for our debut episode. And as, you know, we get the rhythm and we get everything going, we'll get our groove and we'll get everything going. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for coming on. You know, thank you. And let's enjoy this ride together. And like always, y'all, peace, love, deuces.